Ghoulia, Part 2. Create a distraction so that Auntie Departed doesn't notice anything. Eureka! I'll unstitch Shadow. That way she will be busy putting him back together. Find a suitable basket for the treats. Get ready and go! In the village, preparations for Halloween were underway well before the big day. Pumpkins of all different shapes and sizes appeared here and there, carved with silly or spooky faces. The children added finishing touches to their scary costumes and chose their biggest possible baskets for collecting treats. Meanwhile, back at Crumbly Manor, Ghoulia was extremely excited. All day, every day, she talked to Tragedy about Halloween. She yammered on so much that Tragedy couldn't take even the shortest nap. Days passed, and Halloween finally arrived. A coat made out of Bigfoot fur. I don't think that I'll wear it. It's not very flattering. Ghoulia spent all day getting ready. Tragedy did her hair and checked that the shadows under her eyes were really, really purple. Tragedy's an excellent hairdresser. He trained in Paris. The only thing that Ghoulia still needed was a basket for the sweets. What could she use? She could use Auntie Departed's jewelry box. She sneaked into her auntie's bedroom and found it, and dumped out all the jewelry. Now, this wasn't exactly an ordinary jewelry box. It was Uncle Misfortune's head, and it would be difficult to keep him quiet. Ghoulia's uncle was a real chatterbox. Uncle Misfortune loved being left to snooze on top of the dresser. He enjoyed chatting with the photo of his younger self hanging on the nearby wall. When Ghoulia disturbed him, he was in a very bad mood indeed. What on earth is going on? Put my hat on. Put my hat back on right away. I'm cold. Ghoulia explained that she needed to borrow his head for the evening and promised that she would return him to his place on the dresser the next day. Achoo! If you come along, and more importantly, if you keep quiet for the whole evening, I will dust you for a whole year, and I'll bring you fat little worms to say thank you. Do we have a deal? Asked Ghoulia. Uncle Misfortune reluctantly agreed. Auntie's backstitch technique. I've never learned how to do it. Sounds boring. Oh, forgot to read this part. Vermis socialis, a kind of worm, a typical pet kept by zombies. It's very tricky to track down worms who will put up with Uncle Misfortune. After a few days, they always sneak away. Finally, Ghoulia was ready. She sped down the stairs looking for Auntie Departed and found her sitting in the parlor, trying to stitch up Shadow. She thought it was his tail that had come unstitched during his nightly excursion around the manor grounds. But Auntie Departed, having run out of gray thread, was stitching him up with thick, bright orange thread. Shadow's new bright orange thread. At the same time, Auntie was playing a game of chess with Granddad Coffin. She was winning. Much to Granddad's disappointment, Ghoulia, taking advantage of Auntie's distraction, casually told her that she was off for a walk. Yes, yes, of course, Auntie replied, waving Ghoulia away with a flick of her hand. Ghoulia sped away from Crumbling Manor with Tragedy and Uncle Misfortune's head. She ran along the path, out through the gates, and off down the road that led to the village, as happy as could be. Before long, Ghoulia came across a group of children dressed up in monster costumes. They were going from door to door asking trick or treat. Ghoulia was feeling a little shy, but she was willing to do anything to make new friends. So she said hello and asked if she could join their group. The children looked at Ghoulia curiously. They were very impressed by her incredible head shaped basket. It looked real, and the strange dog walking by her side. What's your name? Asked the witch. Ghoulia, she muttered, embarrassed. Julia? What about your dog? What's his name? Asked the wolf. Tragedy. He's an albino greyhound, Ghoulia answered. Ghoulia explained that she had just moved to the village, and the children welcomed her to the neighborhood. Ghoulia's heart swelled with happiness. She set off with her new friend